Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to our next map. We are here in Drucker County. In this episode, we're going to hit the starter base, and we will also go to Sasser Regional Hospital. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to look at the way the base is laid out at when you first move in. Then I will start building it. Whilst it's building, I will come over here to Sasser after I clear that plague heart, and we'll take a look at it. We might as well continue looking at the landmark outposts, because this one's actually pretty neat. So, without further ado, the base comes standard with a chef kitchen, a basic storage, and a double bunk room. It has 3 small slots that you'll be able to customize. One will have trash to clear, and a master bedroom that you will have to repair. So I'm going to start doing that and building my facilities, and I will see you guys when I am done. Or actually, I will see you at Sasser here shortly. Alright, here we are at Sasser Regional Hospital. It is a extremely cool looking building. This doesn't come for everybody, but it looks like Ricer needed to stop at the last minute at the hospital before the outbreak got bad. This is one of the cooler places, I do believe. I guess we'll talk about it. So, this landmark outpost, in addition to providing meds, we can choose a unique benefit for the hospital to provide. Either preventative care, hygienic care, or urgent care. It is 1000 influence, and obviously it takes up an outpost slot. We'll talk about those 3 in just a moment, so let's go ahead and claim it.
Outpost prep is finished and we're ready to rumble.
Alright, urgent care. The urgent care strategy reduces the severity of injuries suffered by our community members. Preventative care strategy boosts the maximum health of all community members, and the hygienic care strategy helps our community members avoid catching blood plague by raising our plague resistance. Goodness gracious. The hygienic or the preventative is probably the way I would go. Stereotypically, the urgent is kind of neat, and yeah, it does stop injuries, but health keeps you alive, and blood plague resistance keeps you from getting the blood plague in, a game where you're fighting the blood plague. So I would select that one. We will activate. So that will give us, we're going to get 2 meds per day regardless, but it will give us a plus 40 infection resistance. And I do believe it does the same with all of these. That gives us plus 20 max health. And then finally, urgent care will give us a minus 30% injury severity. So the hygienic seems to be the best way to go as far as numbers go too. At least in my opinion. But I will also show you around the inside of this place because it is quite large. Even on lethal zone, you can get quite a few lootables in here, and typically there's some pretty neat stuff. I mean, this whole building is very large and more detailed than you'd think. And it's got the little pediatric play area in here. It's got the hallway where you would typically go up to the 2nd floor, which obviously you can't do. But I mean, it mimics not quite a large-scale hospital, but as far as a stereotypical hospital out in, the boonies almost, a big hospital out in the boonies, this is about what it would look like. You've got your laptop for all your charting, you've got your coolers, you've got your beds, you've got your lights, you've got your ER kind of triage areas. And you've got your office work area where you would keep all of your charts. What is that? operations schedule A4, something like that. But yes, this is an extremely neat base. Landmark. And it's an extremely cool looking landmark. We'll run out here a little ways.
Plague heart, this should clear up.
But it's also pretty neat, and it's not super far away from the starting base. It's actually just a little bit down the road from, well, I say that, this friggin' place you have to drive all over. We'll say here. It's a little bit down the road from Wally's, which is one of the early game bases that I think we'll actually be going over next. So when we're done with the house up here, we'll end up going to Wally's, and this is just nice and close. But we will wrap it up for Sasser Regional. Awesome landmark outpost, has some pretty cool benefits that can be quite useful, especially in high difficulties. But I will see you back at base for when we start going over it.
Another day, another scavenging run.
Alright, we got the base built back up. So let's take a look at it now. So I haven't put anything in here, but I don't really use the kitchen. I'm just going to throw a comfy chair in there to get some morale real quick. Storage, I only leveled it up to 2 because level 3 would be just kind of overkill for this base. The double bunk room gives you 4 beds, and then I added a white noise machine. If you don't have one, you can plug in just a comfy chair, anything that you can find to boost your morale, as that is going to be your primary issue at the beginning of the game when you are in this base. But the 4 beds does come in quite handy. The command center, mine is still upgraded to 3, but it would be normal level 1 for everybody else. I would recommend getting it to at least level 2 before moving on. Then the master bedroom, it gives you 2 more beds, which brings it up to 6 beds for this base. And then it also gives you well appointed, which is fairly common in the first base in each map. It gives you a +3 morale per person. Then I threw a comfy chair in here as well, so I get a +6 per person. Now for the 3 customizables, as usual for me, I did the workshop, fighting gym, and infirmary. In my workshop, I added a salvage furnace just for the ability to scrap for a little bit more, because that's what I tend to do the most with everything that I don't use, because it just turns it into money, especially the items I know that don't sell very high. It's much better to scrap them, like I think a tire iron sells for like 17, maybe 17 influence, and you can scrap it for like 30, and 1 part is 1 influence. So if you get 30 parts for it, then that's 30 influence rather than 17, so you're almost doubling. Then infirmary, for obvious reasons, need to heal people, all that good stuff. I put my biochem station in there so that I can blow up more of these plague hearts as needed. And then the fighting gym, one of my favorites, so I can get my +20 max health, and then my free weights to get another +10. If you don't have the free weights, that is also fine. The +20 is probably plenty to help keep you alive. It is better than absolutely nothing. This is a small base, so there's not a ton to go over, plus it decided to get dark on me. As with most of the starting bases, it is fairly decently fortified. It doesn't have the greatest, it doesn't have the worst either. It's not bad dealing with sieges here, but this little side building right here is quite neat. It's also been here in Nightmare Zone. I think I played this map 2 or 3 times in Nightmare, and I want to say all of them. This has been right here, and it has been lootable, and it has had materials. So you can get materials extremely quickly, and then these little houses close by are usually chocked full of loot as well, and so are all of these lootable areas right close by. Now the problem with Drucker is, of course, everything is super far away and in little clusters. So you're going to want to pick this area completely dry. Also, I will say it in this episode, I believe it is right here. That is a super loot location. You can find a ton of materials up there. Kind of shocked there's not a plague heart over there. Lethal zone, there definitely will be. There's usually a plague heart in this house, I do believe. But anyways, I digress. That is the basics of this base. It's not super big, so we're not going to go over a ton. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Gosh, it's dark outside here. That moon is pretty, though. So is the view. Oh, sorry. Got off on a tangent again. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, please like and subscribe so that you can see when I post the next one. I appreciate everybody's time, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.